Good morning, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you signing in again, or for your first time. We're currently in 1 Chronicles. Before we begin our next chapter, our morning prayer. Father, as I read and receive your word, may it deeply be rooted in me, so when difficulty comes, it will be your word that encourages and strengthens me. Amen. Chapter 25. Duties of the musicians. David and the army commanders then appointed men from the families of Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun to proclaim God's message to the accompaniment of harps, lyres, and cymbals. Here is a list of their names and their work. From the sons of Asaph, there were Zakur, Joseph, Nathaniah, and Asarallah. They worked under the direction of their father, Asaph, who proclaimed God's message by the king's orders. Jeduthun had 6 sons, Gedaliah, Zeri, Jeshaiah, Shemiah, Hashabiah, and Mattathiah. They worked under the direction of their father, Jeduthun, who proclaimed God's messages to the accompaniment of the harp, offering thanks and praise to the Lord. Heman's sons were Bukai, Mattaniah, Uzziel, Shubael, Jeremoth, Hananiah, Eliath, Gedalti, Romantiezer, Josh Bekusha, Malothi, Hothir, Mahazioth. All these were the sons of Heman, the king's seer, for God had honored him with 14 sons and 3 daughters. All these men were under the direction of their fathers as they made music at the house of the Lord. Their responsibilities included playing on the cymbals, lyres, harps at the house of God. Asaph, Jeduthun, and Heman reported directly to the king. They and their families were all trained in making music before the Lord, and each of them, 288 in all, was an accomplished musician. The musicians were appointed to their particular term of service by means of sacred lots, without regard to whether they were young or old, teacher or student. The first lot fell to Joseph and the Asaph clan, and 12 of his sons and relatives. The second lot fell to Gedaliah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The third lot fell to Zakur and 12 of his sons and relatives. The fourth lot fell to Zeri and 12 of his sons and relatives. The fifth lot fell to Nathaniah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The sixth lot fell to Bukiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The seventh lot fell to Azarel, Allah, and 12 of his sons and relatives. The eighth lot fell to Jeshaiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The ninth lot fell to Mattaniah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 10th lot fell to Shimei and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 12th lot fell to Hashabiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 13th lot fell to Shubael and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 14th lot fell to Mattaniah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 15th lot fell to Jeremoth and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 16th lot fell to Hananiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 17th lot fell to Josh Bekasha and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 18th lot fell to Hananiah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 19th lot fell to Malothi and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 20th lot fell to Eliathah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 21st lot fell to Hothir and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 22nd lot fell to Gedalti and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 23rd lot fell to Mahaziah and 12 of his sons and relatives. The 24th lot fell to Romantezer and 12 of his sons and relatives. Chapter 26. Duties of the gatekeepers. There are divisions of the gatekeepers. From the Korhites, there was Meshalemiah, son of Kor, of the family of Asaph. The sons of Meshalemiah were Zechariah, the oldest, Jediel the second, Zebediah the third, Jothniel the fourth, Elam the fifth, Jehonan the sixth, and Elihonai the seventh. The sons of Obed-Edom, also gatekeepers, were Shemaiah the oldest, Jehozabad the second, Joah the third, Sakar the fourth, Nathaniel the fifth, Amiel the sixth, Issachar the seventh, and Peelthiah the eighth. God had richly blessed Obed-Edom. Obed-Edom's son Shemiah had sons with great ability who earned position of great authority in the clan. Their names were Othni, Raphael, Obed, and Elizabad. The relatives Elihu and Shemachiah were also very capable men. All of these descendants of Obed-Edom included their sons and grandsons, 62 of them in all, were very capable men, well qualified for their work. Meshalemiah's 18 sons and relatives were also very capable men. Hosh, the Merari clan, appointed Shimri as the leader among his sons. Though he was not the oldest, his other sons included Hilkiah the second, Tibaliah the third, and Zechariah the fourth. Hosah's sons and relatives who served as gatekeepers numbered 13 in all. These divisions of the gatekeepers were named for their family leaders, and like the other Levites, they served at the house of the Lord. They were assigned by families for guard duty at various gates, without regard to age or training, for it was all decided by means of sacred lots. The responsibility for the east gate went to Meshalemiah and his group. The north gate was assigned to his son Zechariah, a man of unusual wisdom. The south gate went to Obed-Edom, and his sons were put in charge of the storehouses. Shuppim and Hosah were assigned the west gate and the gateway leading up to the temple. Guard duties were divided evenly. 6 Levites were assigned each day to the east gate, 4 to the north gate, 4 to the south gate, and 2 of each to the storehouse. 6 were assigned each day to the west gate, 4 to the gateway leading up to the temple, and 2 to the courtyard. These were the divisions of the gatekeepers from the clans of Korah and Merari. Treasurers and other officials. Other Levites led by Ahaziah were in charge of the treasuries of the house of God and the storerooms. From the family of Libni in the clan of Gershon, Jehiel was the leader. The sons of Jehiel, Zetham and his brother Joel, were in charge of the treasuries of the house of the Lord. These are the leaders that descended from Amram, Izhar, and Hebron, and Uzziel. From the clan of Amram, Shebuel was a descendant of Gershom, son of Moses. He was the chief officer of the treasuries. His relatives through Eleazar were Rehabiah, Jeshiah, Joram, Zikri, and Shelomuth. Shelomuth and his relatives were in charge of the treasuries that held all the things dedicated to the Lord by King David. The family leaders and the generals and captains and other officers of the army. These men had dedicated some of the plunder they had gained in the battle to maintain the house of the Lord. Shelomuth and his relatives also cared for the items dedicated to the Lord by Samuel the seer. Saul, son of Kish, Abner, son of Ner, and Joab, son of Zeruiah, all the other dedicated items were in their care too. From the clan of Izhar came Kenaiah. He and his sons were appointed to serve as public administrators and judges throughout Israel. From the clan of Hebron came Hashabiah. He and his relatives, 1,700 capable men, were put in charge of the Israelite lands west of the Jordan River. They were responsible for all matters related to the things of the Lord and the service of the king in that area. Also from the clan of Hebron came Jeriah, who was the leader of the Hebronites according to the genealogical records. In the 40th year of David's reign, a search was made in the records, and capable men from the clan of Hebron were found at Jazer in the land of Gilead. There were 2,700 capable men among the relatives of Jeriah. King David sent them to the east side of the Jordan River and put them in charge of the tribes of Reuben and Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh. They were responsible for all matters related to the things of God and the service of the king. Chapter 27, Military Commanders and Divisions. This is a list of Israelite generals and captains, and their officers who served the king by supervising the army divisions that were on duty each month of the year. Each division served for 1 month and had 24,000 troops. Joshabim, son of Zebediah, was commander of the 1st Division, which was on duty during the first month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. He was a descendant of Perez and was charged of all army officers for the first month. Dodai, a descendant of Ahawa, was commander of the 2nd Division, which was on duty during the 2nd month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Mikloth was his chief officer. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada the priest, was commander of the 3rd Division, which was on duty during the 3rd month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. This was Benaiah who commanded David's elite military group known as the 30. His son Amahazabad was his chief officer. Ashabel, the brother of Joab, was commander of the 4th Division, which was on duty during the 4th month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Ashahel was succeeded by his sons Zebediah. Shammah, the Israelite, was commander of the 5th Division, which was on duty during the 5th month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Ira, son of Ikesh from Tekoa, was a commander of the 6th Division, which was on duty during the 6th month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Helez, a descendant of Ephraim from Pelon, was commander of the 7th Division, which was on duty during the 7th month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Sibekiah, a descendant of Zerah from Husha, was commander of the 8th Division, which was on duty during the 8th month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Benaiah from Pirathon from Ephraim was commander of the 11th Division, which was on duty during the 11th month. There were 24,000 troops in his division. Heliad, a descendant of Othniel from Topheth, was commander of the 12th Division, which was on duty during the 12th month. There were 24,000 troops in this division. Okay, reading all that, I forgot why they were on duty. Okay. They served the king of the supervising army division that were on duty each month. They served 1 month. Okay. Sorry, I forgot why they were on duty. Leaders of the tribes. The following are the tribes of Israel and their leaders. The tribe of Reuben, the leader was Eleazar, son of Zikri. Simeon was Shephthah, son of Makkah. Levi, Hashabiah, son of Chemiel. Aaron, the priest, Zadok. Judah, Elihu, a brother of David. Issachar, Omri, son of Michael. Zebulun, Ishmaiah, son of Obadiah. Naphtali, Jeremuth, son of Azriel. Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Azaziah. Manasseh, west, Joel, son of Pedaiah. Manasseh east, Iddo son of Zechariah. Benjamin, Jaziel son of Abner. Dan, Azriel son of Jeroham. These were the leaders of the tribes of Israel. When David took his census, he did not count those who were younger than the 20 years of age, because the Lord had promised to make the Israelites as numerous as the stars in heaven. Joab began the census but never finished it because the anger of God broke out against Israel. The final total was never recorded in King David's official records. Official of King David's kingdom. Asmapheth son of Adil was in charge of the palace treasuries. Jonathan son of Uzziah was in charge of the regional treasuries. Throughout the towns, villages, and fortresses of Israel, Ezri son of Kelob was in charge of the field workers who farmed the king's lands. Shimei from Ramah was in charge of the king's vineyards. Zabdi from Shephan was responsible for the grapes and the supplies of wine. Balhanan from Gedur was in charge of the king's olive groves and sycamore fig trees in the foothills of Judah. Joash was responsible for the supplies of olive oil. Shaitre from Sharon was in charge of the cattle on the Sharon plain. Shapha, son of Adli, was responsible for the cattle in the valley. Obil, the Ishmaelite, was in charge of the camels. Jediah from Meronoth was in charge of the donkeys. Jaziz the Hagrite was in charge of the king's sheep. All these officials were overseers of King David's property. Jonathan, David's uncle, was a wise counselor to the king, a man of great insight, and a scribe. Jehiel the Hakmonite was responsible to teach each king's sons. Ahithophel was the royal advisor. Hushai the Archite was the king's friend. Ahithophel was succeeded by Jehoiada son of Benai, and by Abiathar. Joab was commander of the Israelite army. Well, thank you for joining me today. I greatly appreciate your time and signing in. We'll see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great day and a blessed day. Bye.